the next part I wanted to talk about was like consumer psychology. And like there's all these crazy studies that are done that like you may think as a listener right now, like, oh, this doesn't apply to me. Like I'm not this simple. I don't think this simply, but it applies in masses, in majority. But there's these experiments done like if you set up a bank so that one line is really long and one line has literally no one in it, but they're both open, and you set it up so that people can just start coming in, but everyone else is actors, people go to the longer line because they'll think that something is wrong with the shorter line. Things like that. There's a psychology study that says literally just by raising the price, you can make it feel like you're actually like buying a better product. And an example of that is like Beats headphones. Beats headphones have shitty audio. They do. And they, like I was looking at the studies on it, they have bad audio. They're the same thing as Skull Candy, which is a very low budget brand.
But they're by Dre.
Beats sells. Yeah, but exactly. So Beats sells for like hundreds of dollars per product. And they found out that it takes $10 to produce their product, to make it, which is less than it takes Skull Candy to, and they sell theirs at a lower price point. But they did such a good job with like the ergonomics of the design and tying it to Dre and athletes and pushing it out there from the very beginning that people perceived it at such a high price, and they're just killing that.
Are they still currently killing it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's so dope.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Apple does the same thing. Like Android is perceived as like the budget brand, the common brand. They have a lot of the better features. One thing they lack is like they lack is that not everyone uses it.
Oh yeah, you get people making fun of green text users all the time.
The Android versus iPhone. Yeah, but the thing with Android versus iTone is just like simplicity of use, I feel like. Or maybe that's what they've got you to believe.
That's what they got you to believe. Like Google rules the world and their phones still don't beat iPhone because, I mean, they have to kind of taken a market share of like the developer's phone, you know, but like people say they buy iPhones for the better camera. Well, Android actually has the better camera. They say they buy it for the better apps. Well, Android actually has more apps and less vetting of the apps. So you have more like open sourcing. They say they buy it for blah, blah, blah. I mean, and they buy it for space. Well, Android has expandable space. You can have memory cards and stuff in there. It's better computer. Like the only reason that Apple succeeds is because more people have Apple. And it's just like rolling ball theory where like everyone's below this like rock that's rolling down a hill. And you don't want to be the person without the blue text messages. You don't want your notes to not sync with your laptop. You know, like their compatibility with their mediocre products is what keeps them high value. And they want to be a high value product, so they raise their price. And they spend a lot of money on marketing where Android doesn't as much. Samsung kind of catches up a little bit. But the other thing is that like there's a lot of examples of like Best Buy has their Insignia brand of TV. But people buy Samsung for like 30% more because Samsung sells more TVs, and in the mind of the consumer, there's less room to fail if you buy something that more people buy. So like and the reason I bring up Insignia versus Samsung is because they're manufactured by the same company. Like the same manufacturer in China or whatever it is makes the TVs, and then there's just a sticker that's slapped on that's different. Like I have an Insignia TV at the Man Cave Cheek, and it was $400 or $600 less than a Samsung counterpart of the same TV. And it was just because Samsung was slapped on the brand. And the reason that is because people feel way more comfortable buying what everyone else does. And it's not because they think it's going to be way better, but because they think everyone buys Samsung. So the cost of failure, or the percent of chance of failure, is much less. And
there's an element to that of reliability and knowing that product is going to work. Like, because there have been plenty of times where I've bought the cheapest option and it like breaks right away or tastes different or whatever it is, and then I'll buy like, you know, the more expensive one, and like it just is more dependable. And so there are plenty of times where I can see why seeing a more expensive price or a reliable name, like if I saw a Best Buy TV versus Samsung, I'm like, I don't know crap about Best Buy TVs, I'm just going to assume off the bat that it's not as reliable and it's going to be cheaper and more of a throwaway money.
Well, that's kind of the point, is that these TVs are identical, minus the sticker slapped on them. So why did you buy one over the other? Because of the brand name, right? And so that's why companies put so much money into their brand and their awareness and things like that, and making it seem like they're the popular choice, because you'll end up buying them for $600 more. They'll make more margin on the same thing just because they have an identified name. If you did, like, the only reason I know this is because a Best Buy guy told me, and then I looked it up at some point. But if you trusted Samsung and then went home before you bought it and researched and found out that the exact same TV is sold under a different name for less money, wouldn't you go and buy it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just like, what are you willing to do the research for? A TV, I would do research for to see what the Best Buy is. But if I'm buying like cough syrup and I'm going NyQuil versus 7-Eleven brand, I'm like, I don't know. I might just go with NyQuil because I know it's going to get the job done.
Well, that's why you do brand campaigns. And there's been examples of like Advil and ibuprofen, like Walgreens ibuprofen, are the same exact composition. You can look at the back, same composition, same exact product, same exact results. But people will buy whatever price level indicates how much they're hurting. So if they have a $10 headache, they'll buy the $10 Advil. But if they have a little headache, they'll buy the $3 ibuprofen because perceptually they think it works less often or less as well. Just because the brand name, the point of doing brand campaigns is so that when people have to make a choice, they choose you, basically. So you look at Advil, which you've seen thousands of ads about joint pain, headaches, hangovers, whatever. You see all that stuff. And then you go and buy one day when you have a headache or joint pain and you see that versus ibuprofen. You may logically know that they're the same exact thing, but emotionally you can't make that decision without the Advil's help of saying you should buy this brand. And I don't know, knowing that now, that might change your buying decision. And that's something I want to get to at some point, is how awareness of this might help you as a consumer.